showing up. Oh, my shoulder really hurts today. Woo. It's hot. We may do this without the hat, which is kind of out of character, but I got a decent haircut, so I don't look like riffraff anymore. So let's see who shows up. I got a couple things that I wanted to really talk about, but when you guys show up, let me know how the audio is. I did not do a mic test. If the audio is bad, let me know and we'll just go with the native. But I think there's something wrong with the native mic on my phone. So we shall see. I got some stuff that I wanted to show you guys to save a little bit of money. I touched on it in a short the other day. So let's see when people start showing up and dropping comments. And if you do show up, please find a way to either double tap that screen and do a thumbs up or pull up the 3 little dots. So let's see. I know it's Monday. I know a lot of you guys are probably at work. Well, I don't know. It's 1 o'clock. Yeah, it's 1 o'clock on the East Coast. I don't think about that when I do these sometimes. I don't even really think about it. But yeah, it's hot today. That's why we're not filming. That's why we're doing a live feed. Let me know. Give me a word on how the audio is. So like I said, I didn't do an audio check before we started. And I'm still having problems with the setup on getting some of the stuff. But yeah, we're going to talk about some EDC stuff. I touched base on, one thing the other day. There's a lot of stuff out there in the EDC realm that's going to cost you more than it should. It really is. There's so many things out there that are just way more expensive than they should be. And I don't necessarily mean the knives themselves. I mean, like, there's stuff like knife adjacent stuff that is just ridiculous how expensive it can be to purchase things that you want and you want to use. So John Butler, sounds good. Cool. There's a lot of stuff out there that people have been shilling in the knife industry for a while, like EDCI, the spray. And granted, don't get me wrong, it's good. I prefer the Blade Shield by KPL a lot better. I find that it works better, it lasts longer, and it definitely does a much better job removing adhesive. I'm looking for the dog. It's hot. It's hot. It's 80. When I grabbed all my stuff about an hour ago, it was 89 degrees in the studio with the garage door open. That's as cool as I've gotten it. It's 86 degrees in here, but it is like super humid today. So we're not filming. We're sitting in front of a fan. No, I touched on it. There's some stuff that gets put out there. Like I said, there's all kinds of blade preservation stuff that's out there. And I think people forget that there's already really good stuff that has been around for a very long time that straight razor guys, like, I don't know if you guys remember this. I was a straight razor guy. I would shave with a straight razor. And everybody's like, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that to prevent the rust. And I'm like, no, you don't. There were really simple solutions that had been around for hundreds of years at that point on how to preserve blades. Olive oil, like a drop of olive oil on a carbon steel straight razor blade. Absolutely will protect that. All you want is a barrier. And then people got all fancy and they're like, oh, well, this and that, and you got to do this. And olive oil on a pocket knife is not going to be your best bet. It really isn't, because olive oil is it's gonna rub away. It's too thin. It's gonna wash off. You're gonna get it in your pocket. So there were a bunch of people that came out like, this is that Carnivora blade wax that I got from Carnivora Knives, and that's a whole different story. We'll talk about as soon as I know more what's going on with Carnivora. But this was, it was a proprietary blend of ethically sourced beeswax, almond oil, and coconut oil. This is 15 bucks. And it's not even it's not even like a shoe polish container's worth of it. And like I said, I didn't buy this. It does work really well. You put it on your blade, you put it on, you wipe off any excess, and as a matter of fact, I keep it on this Crewwear blade. I do like it because I do use it. It's a little bit it's a little bit more prone to melting with hand warmth and being easier to apply to the blade, but you can see it's got a coating of it on there because Crewware does rust. As a matter of fact, this also has a coating of something on it, but not that $15 wax. I'm going to show you why. We talked about it in a short. I did a short about it. Like I said, 15 bucks. Vaseline. Everybody's like, oh, this and that. I was like, this has been considered food safe. Use it on your lips. People use it on cutlery to prevent cutlery from running. You just wipe it off when you want to use it. This is a very good rust preventative. Just put a light coat of this on your blade. Vaseline is nowhere as expensive, and people are like, oh, that's not food safe. I was like, look, if you can put it on your lips and mouth, pretty good. Like, this has been around the beauty industry for years. People have used this for years. I've used it on knives for years. We always have a big tub of Vaseline around. I don't go out of my way to buy these things like this. And guys, if you're here, please double tap that screen and drop a like. I'm trying to save you some money. So things like this, I think, are just a little bit crazy. And on top of that, 15 bucks for this little container. Lubricant. A lot of people argue with me about lubricant. That's where I say you should spend a little bit of money. KPL is probably some of the best lubricant you're going to get for a knife pivot. And I've done a lot of testing with it. I find that lubrication that you get from KPL lasts for so much longer. I was going to drop an F-bomb. But yes. See, John's got it. You put it on your baby's butt. It's you put it on injuries, wounds. Like, I actually put it on when the dog gets to scratching me. I'll put it on there to keep the skin from drying because I'm getting older, so my skin is not as good as it used to be. Guys, 16 of you, please drop a like. There's only 3 likes on this. That gets more people. Just double tap the screen. It drops a like. So, yeah, that's one of the things. Like the KPL lubricant is a little bit more expensive than some of the other stuff you would get, like 3-in-2, 3-in-1, I mean, or dial rod and tool oil, or just like mineral oil, but it lasts longer and it does do what it says. It keeps the grit in suspension. So even though it's more expensive, you don't have to use it as often. And I've tested it by using it as a sharpening medium on oil stones, and it does not allow the stones to load. It absolutely does keep that grit in suspension. Eventually you do have to replace it, but I've also found that a lot of times I can take a knife that I'm running on KPL and rinse it under hot water and then blow it off and have that lubrication still be really good. This is my Begleiter XL, my Kaiser Begleiter XL. And as you can see, this does get a ton of pocket time. Look at the micarta on those. It absolutely does hold up. It does hold up. Guys, drive the chat. Like, if you guys want to talk about something, drop a comment. I'll answer questions. Holy crap. The dog is right in front of the fan. The sun's coming in the window over here. He was shaking and it was just hair. Looks like it's snowing. But yeah, the KPL holds up longer and you get a longer lasting lubrication on your knives before you have to take it apart. I've actually used KPL on a couple of my firearms. I prefer nano oil because it was designed for firearms. But yeah, the KPL knife pivot lube, absolutely, I think is the best stuff for it because it just doesn't get gummy and gum up like some other lubricants do when you get all that stuff in your pivot. It still lubricates. KPL is great. I do the same rinsing knives under a faucet and no need to relube. Yeah, very rarely do I have to relube. And with the KPL being so thin of I don't know how he did it, but like it's one of the ones that I absolutely have no problem just dropping new lubricant in from the top. So that's one of the things that's going to save you money even though it's more expensive up front. And the next one is another one that is more expensive up front, but I think is going to save money in the long run. Because I, until recently, would have canned air. I would buy a thing of like 4 or 6. I don't like frog loop at all. I would buy like a thing of like 3 or 6 of the canned air, the dust off, the dust, you know the ones I'm talking about, your keyboard cleaner. And I was like, I went the other day and I was like, wow, these are expensive. They're like, I think they were like, the big cans were like $6 each. And I was like, man, that's a lot of money for something that really doesn't last that long, a disposable. And I'm like, and it's like a limited use, things like that. And you can only use it for so long before the can gets frosty and cold. And I'm like, there's got to be a better option. And I saw Den of Tools did a video about something, and I purchased it, and I've been testing it for a little while. And it's one of these. Yes, these are expensive up front. Exported straight from Duridia, transported by Spaceball 1. Yeah, the can, that was Perrier. This is a rechargeable blower. And I don't have a compressor. This is a lithium ion thing, and it's got a I saw the video he did, and I was like, you know what? I got it on Amazon. I can always send it back if I don't like it. This is a very powerful little 3-speed blower that comes with a bunch of different attachments. And I mean, it really has got a lot of, power. You can actually feel it like fighting you. It's like a little jet engine. So for what I would have paid for 6 cans, I got one of these. I think these were not quite. Had I gotten 6 cans, if they were $10 each, yes. These are like 60 bucks. However, what do you want, buddy? I got a dog over here that now wants he's vying for my attention. Holy crap, Aiden, thank you very much. So, but this is a lot better because all I have to do is recharge it. I will say battery life on it is not perfect. Put on the hat. It's hot. I took the hat off because I'm sweating. There we go. I mean, you paid me 20 bucks. I'll do what you ask. So battery life on these aren't great. But the fact is they recharge really quickly. So on high, it's got 3 different settings. Well, it's got more than 3 settings. I detail cars as well, clean out IT gear. I picked up a pet groomer dryer, which is powerful enough to deal with. This is way more powerful than I've seen those. This is like literally, that's on its low setting. That's on medium. And that's on high. This thing is powerful. And so people are like, well, why do you use it? I have knives that are a pain in the ass to take apart, and they get dust in them. Like this. This is that really nice Demco, and it doesn't get carried, but it sits in that case. And I need to replace the pick and pluck because the pick and pluck is starting to break down. And so as the pick and pluck looks shite, huh? Well, the 70s, I got news for you. This thing is not. It is absolutely perfect for what I use it for, which is cleaning up my keyboard, blowing off the workstation, blowing dust and things off my workstation where I film in the studio, and cleaning out gunk and stuff that get in knives, because when you carry knives around, you get pocket lint and stuff in it. And that's typically what I use the canned air for, is just to blow that out, especially if I'm going to film a knife that has gotten, let's see, if I got something that has had a good bit of pocket time, not got cleaned out for a video. So when you're using the canned air, you're just basically wasting money. This, after a bunch of uses, it's basically paid for itself. Guys, what do I have to do to get you to drop a like on this video? Come on, that's all I'm asking. I'm not even asking you guys to drop money like Aiden did. Any knife with bearings needs one of those. Canned air is expensive. Been looking for replacement. These are like 60 or 70 bucks. I will put up a post. Richard Swartz, I will put a post up on the channel with a link to it so you can pick one up. I don't think they're still available on Amazon. I don't think that they're still available on Amazon. But I've been using it, what, like a week or two now? It's great. It only lasts like 5 minutes on high. Oh yeah, $14 for 2 cans. Yeah, so 6 cans. Like you buy a box of those things. This is USB-C rechargeable. On full blast, it lasts for 5 minutes. I tested it. And you can feel it get warm. It pushes some of the air down through to keep the batteries cool. But it charges in about an hour. If it's completely dead, it takes about an hour, maybe 2 to charge. And it absolutely is, let's see. Is this one dirty? Well, it doesn't really matter. I can show you. Yeah, this one's kind of dirty. You might not be able to see it, but you can also set it for, it has a little knob so you get a finer adjustment. And there is a finer tip, but I don't feel that the finer tip pushes any more air. When you put the finer tip on it, it feels like it pushes more air out. It pushes more air out the bottom. I don't think you get any more pressure. But yeah, it's really good for just blowing out the guts of your knife. Or if you've just, like, I'm a big fan of just rinsing my knife under the sink to clean out the pivot and clean out the bearings, and then you want to blow the water out of it, really good. Comes in really handy. So yeah, that I think would save a lot of money. Oh, that video. Well, if you liked it, share it, because I was really hoping to get more traction on that video. I put a lot of work into it. I'd asked a couple of people to share it, and only Scab did. So if you liked that video, please share it. Share a link to it different places. Well, good afternoon from San Diego if you're in Brazil. Yeah. That's a couple ways you can save money right there. And then the other thing, there's so many things out there in the EDC world that people try to sell you on. Oh, you need this, you need that. Oh, you got to have this, you got to have that. Pre-made cases is another one. I dig the pre-made cases that are like set up for knives. That's cool. Jared had one on his channel. It was pretty cool. But I find that just buying a case and putting your own pick and pluck in, which I have to put new pick and pluck in. Oh, I got to finish setting this up. I have to put fresh pick and pluck in this one here. Let me show you. The pick and pluck is breaking down in this knife case. And so when that happens, you wind up with the black stuff from the pick and pluck getting down in your knives. Even if you're not like carrying them, they're still going to get dirty in the case, which is kind of the opposite of what you want. The point of the case is to keep the knives clean. And as that pick and pluck breaks down, but that pick and pluck's been in there for 6, 7 years, I want to say. So all I have to do is get another piece of pick and pluck, pull that all out, put in however many knives. I would do a little bit more space management and give myself room for another knife or two on each end. I don't know. But the fact is you can easily clean stuff out. Big boy over there's got his bone. He's just chewing on it and gnawing on it. It is so hot. We got up early this morning because I knew it was going to be hot today. At 6 o'clock this morning, it was 71 degrees, which isn't that hot. That's a comfortable temperature. But it was 93% humidity. And so by the time we went and got his walk done and went up to the top of the hill and back, he and I were both pretty much done with being outside. And then the sun had come up, and so it's humid. The sun's just beating on you. It's just humid. It is nasty today. I really had I really had big plans to film a bunch of stuff today, and then I looked at the weather report. I'm like, well, I don't think that's going to happen because like, it's well over 90 degrees in my studio right now. Harbor Freight has those cheap Pelican cases, pretty sweet if you don't want to drop a few Benjamins. I think that I'm going to look at the one that Jared had on his channel, and I'm going to look at it and think think about whether I'm going to spend any money on that. But here's the thing. I'm currently laid off. So I'm on a fight or flight. Do I vape? I have a Jazz Cabbage vape that I use. How many times do you ask the same question? Fight or flight? I'm not gonna have you just spamming I'm not gonna have you spam my chat section. It's not gonna happen. So I was going through stuff. I was like, what knives do I have that I haven't carried for a while? And so I got this one out because I haven't had this in my pocket for a while. This was that Big Lighter XL that my buddy got me for a birthday present last year, I think. This thing is just incredibly good. I think this is the best. I think this is the best Kaiser. This one and the Mini Roach, I think, are the two best. Absolutely love this knife. Kaiser just kind of nailed it with this one. The Mini was okay. The original, I wasn't a big fan. I forget what the foam is. I think it was high density polyurethane, works better or less soft than pick and pluck, less. Yeah, I mean, that's the problem. Like, I want to be able to, I kind of like the customization ability of the pick and pluck. Yeah, the XL beg letter. Okay, so Richard Schwartz didn't know there was an XL. They did. They had the original one, and they had the Mini, and I had both of those here from Jared. And then one of these came in from Jared, and I was like, ooh, I really want one of these. And I mentioned, something's beeping somewhere. I mentioned it when it was here. My buddy was here at the house, and we were talking about it, and we were looking at the knife, and I was like, yeah, I really like this. I may wind up having to get one of these, when funds present themselves. And he was like, oh yeah. He's like, where are they available? I was like, I think that this version, and this was at the time, I was like, I think this one's only available at White Mountain Knives with the orange, and then you get a spare black button and all that stuff. And I was like, yeah, but they're probably gonna sell out. Well, he wound up getting me one. He got one for himself, and then he got one for his buddy because my buddy's birthday was right about the same time. And he was like, here you go. He's like, before they up and sell out, like this burnt orange, dark brown micarta. This was the perfect version of this knife. And then it came with a replaceable button so that you could swap it out for the black button. And absolutely love this knife. And I had forgotten, I was like, oh, what haven't I carried for a while? And I was just kicking stuff around in my head. I was like, my beg lighter. I should get that out. Aiden says, oh, what is this? The Pelican with the Nowpack inserts are my favorite. I'm friends with Andy over at Nowpack. I have to say, for quality, yeah, they're going to be the best. As Joshua Haywood is talking about this. The only issue I have with the Nowpack ones is they are expensive. And if you don't have a Pelican case, you can't get it. It won't fit. Like if I bought the Nowpack inserts, I couldn't get one for this case because this is not a Pelican case. This is a Seahorse. I forget. I think Nico gave me this case because he had an extra one. And the problem is I can't just put a Nowpack insert in it. It's dimensionally different. So I do like them, but they're expensive, and I would have to buy an expensive case. The other one, so Aiden says, finally got the stones. I have to send them to you. Cool, let me know. I'm not doing a lot of sharpening, but I could do enough just to review the stones. In case you guys don't know, I'm no longer doing sharpening. I would love to add that to my revenue stream because I still do have a bunch of people reach out to me, but my shoulder, the nerve damage in my shoulder, arm, and neck is so bad at this point. Like it hurts to hold my arm out to hold a knife up to show you guys on camera. Like literally after a day of filming, my shoulder hurts. And that's just because I'm manipulating things and it hurts now. So not doing any filming or any sharpening at the moment. I have good days and bad days, but if I do a day of sharpening, it's not gonna have a good day for a while. So having done, so this is Mr. 11216288Y. Having done both pick and pluck and now pack many times, I much prefer the alpaca. Yeah, they are better. I don't know, like if a fixture system would help. I'm still doing repetitive motion, and I don't know. I'm probably going to wind up having another shoulder surgery. I don't know if a fixtured system would help, and I don't like the results from fixtured systems as much. And plus, I already got stones. I don't need a fixtured system. Why would I spend? It would make everything. It would make the hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Well, the thousands of dollars of sharpening stones that I have, it would make them obsolete. It would make them worthless. And I just can't do it. Plus, I don't like sharpening on it. Mr. 112. Man, I have a headache. It's this weather. The weather has changed and it feels like shit here. What else? There was something else. Oh, speaking of EDC stuff. This, as a matter of fact, that's why I got this. I tagged a pry bar in this video if you want to check it out. This one is going to be almost impossible to find. I have gotten back to where I just love carrying a pry bar. And it's not because I'm a drunk. I've been accused of it. Not an alcoholic, but a drunk. And it has a bottle opener. I find so many times that one of these comes in so useful. And this is my personal favorite. This is the Cerberus Knives pry bar in 3V. And it's got a Lynch clip on it, so it's got a nice little pocket clip. This has come in so handy so many times. I linked a pretty good pry bar in this video that you can check out. There should be down below the video, like a product link. You can check it out, but these things are great for a lot of things. One of the things that I find myself, because we have the dog and the dog sheds and I have to vacuum all the, yeah, he went over the top with this. This is actually glow in the dark resin. It's all here, I'll turn this around. I'll show you what I'm talking about. It has been very, very detailed, machined really, really well. It was done in 3V with titanium pocket clip. It's got this insert here. He did several different patterns on this. This isn't your average, just like, I didn't buy this. This is a gift from the maker. This was from Chris over at Cerberus Knives. This is more of a bespoke kind of item. This is one of those things that you pull out of your pocket and people are like, what the fuck is that? This is a very, very good pry bar. I also have my friend Nathan over at Rat Bastard. He has the Enigma multi-tool. And let me see. Yeah, the Enigma multi-tool. This is leaps and bounds above. And the fact is, because titanium has a tendency to deform, I've used this for so many things. The big one is, like I was saying, having the dog. He's a golden retriever and he sheds like crazy. I have to vacuum all the time, which means I have to clean the head of the vacuum. This is perfect for popping out those little locking things to pull the brushes out and clean up. And I have to do that about once a week because I have to vacuum several times a week. And he just gets so much hair wrapped around those brushes. This is perfect for that. This is also perfect for popping open. This is one where I have found this one and the titanium one to be really good. This knife, case in point. This knife, the Spyderco knives in particular, with these tubes, are really hard to get apart. And you got to get something under to pop up past because these are flared on the ends. And so you've got to pry on these to pop them off of the thing. And then typically I'll take a file and I'll knock that flare off so that it's easier to get apart the next time. Taking a knife apart that has got really tight tolerances, like this knife, you're not getting this knife apart. This is the Lamia in Crewwear. You're not getting this knife apart without a pry bar. You're not. It's just not going to happen. Everything on there is so tight. You can take both of the screws out and shake it, and you're not going to get it apart. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, but like, I'm not gonna Joe X this thing. Not on a knife that secondary market price is somewhere around $1,300. So what I was saying is, you need a pry bar to take this apart. You absolutely need a pry bar to get this apart. I typically, on something like this that's titanium, will not use the 3V one because I don't want to scratch up the titanium. So I will go get the titanium one, the Enigma multi-tool, and I'll use that. But I've got several of these. I think I've got 4 different pry bars. This is the one I carry, and it's not because it's better than the others and things like that. This is the one that has a pocket clip. Covering it with tape does not give you the best result. This is kind of thick already. Let's go for a real quick trip out. I'm not covering it in tape. Plus then if the tape gives, then you got adhesive inside your knife. And if, like, knife guys know, oh, he found a toy. We hate adhesive. Adhesive is like, it's fucking horrible. So I got recently a new one that Nico brought back from a knife show, and I've got to find it. It was, I put it on my workbench and now I don't see it. God only knows where it went. It's my workbench. Who knows? It is, Jesus, it's 89 degrees out here. Well, I was going to show you. It's another really nice one, and now I can't seem to find it. There it is. There it is. This is the BladeWX.com pry bar, and it's got a couple other little features. But this is one that you could put on a. This is one you could put on a keychain. Jesus, it's hot out here. Well, see now, Richard Swartz, you're talking about. Talking about scratches, this is titanium. It's not going to scratch. This is the Enigma multi-tool. This is the one done by Rat Bastard. This is a really, really good one. I don't carry this in my pocket because obviously, 1, it doesn't have a way to carry it, and 2, well, that could puncture your scrotum, but it is nice to have a little pair of tweezers, especially if you get metal shavings and things in your hands. It is currently 89 degrees. With the door open and a fan on. So yeah, we're not filming out there today. Protect the knife. Yeah, I'm saying it does. That's why I use the titanium. It's going to protect the knife. And I mean, it's not like it's not like I'm using enough force that I would fuck it. I just don't want to like slip off and scratch anything. And the fact is, that's my knife. It's never going anywhere. So I don't really need to be that concerned about it. Oh, it's so much cooler in here. That will change throughout the day as the sun crests over the top of the house, starts hitting this side of the house. But yeah, pry bars are great. Pry bars are great. They're a great little addition to your EDC. I'm going to show you something else that is a great addition, and you guys have heard me talk about it again. And you absolutely can tell Justin over at OCD for EDC that I sent you. If you have not put a CME on one of your Spydercos with a compression lock, you are missing out. So could use plastic electronic spudgers, love those as well. I absolutely tried. Richard Swartz says you could use a plastic electronic spudger instead of using titanium. I don't find them to be like this. I'm telling you right now, even with a pry bar, it's a struggle. Alex really got a tight fit on these, which is good because if your screws start to come loose, your knife doesn't lose integrity. You just simply put it back in. It's like the old thing with the Sebenza. Like people would like, oh, the Sebenza locks up so tight and it does such a good job that even my pivot screw came out and I lost it, and I didn't notice. I don't necessarily believe that. I could see it on some other knives though. I don't think the Sebenza locks up that tight. I really don't. Anything that Brian Nadeau has made, if you're going to take that knife apart, pack a fucking lunch. You're going to need some patience, some strong hands, and probably a drill chuck. I'm telling you right now, like they are a nightmare to get apart and back together. A spudger's not going to do it on this. Paul FTW, Paul Mills. Both of the Pauls are here. I know these are expensive, and I'm telling you right now, if Alex had not given to me this, I could never afford this knife. If you have got the funds, to allow yourself to try one out, get with Alex. Don't buy it on the secondary market. Don't buy it on the secondary market. The Lamy is probably one of the best knives that has come out of any American manufacturer in a very, very long time. If you can afford to get one, Ethan's here. What's going on, Ethan? I haven't seen you in a long time. If you can afford one, get on Alex's mailing list, get one from Alex. That supports him directly, and it's going to be cheaper. If you can be patient, just wait, get on the list, get one. You got to go to his mailing list. Don't buy it on the secondary market because you're going to pay more than you should, and it doesn't support Alex. Secondary knife purchases, secondary market knife purchases do not at all aid the maker. They actually get screwed on it. So you can get one of these. This is probably one of the best performing knives I've ever owned. When it comes to just sheer cutting, they are so good, so thin behind the edge, so sharp. The heat treat on it is just perfect. Everything about this is great. Now, like I said, I could never afford one of these. I couldn't, not after I've spent all the money I had, and even when I started the new job. Now that I'm laid off, that sucks. But this is the best American-made knife right now. Well, no, I'm sorry. There is a knife that is a grail that does take the cake, that beats this a little bit, and it is the Mini Arius by Koenig, the flipperless. That is absolutely. Scrolling shorts and YouTube decided I should watch you. Not mad. Cool. Chance Hawkins. Drop a like, a share, a subscribe. Do whatever you want to do. Help out the channel. The Mini Arius is a knife I'm going to have someday. The flipperless one. They are gorgeous. I picked one up for my buddy at a knife show. Bill over at Koenig Knives is an incredible dude. He let me leave with a $1,000 knife because we were having problems processing my friend's payment. He let me leave, take the knife with me, film the video, and send it to my friend with like just on the I believe, the I trust you button. Pushed it. We got it all taken care of, but like literally for about a month, I had a $1,000 knife at my house that no one had paid for. My daughter says I should shave the beard and just leave the big bushy mustache. She's like, you would look like a state trooper. She's like, especially with a haircut, you would look like a state trooper. At any rate, God, it sucks. This, I do like the fact I'm getting to interact with you guys, but I do not like being unemployed. I first time in 50 years, I'm 50 years old, my first time in my life, I had to apply for unemployment. And the problem is, everybody's like, oh, just go get a different job. If they try to bring me back and I've got another job, then that just looks shitty. You know what I mean? So I'm going to hold out to the end of the month. We're going to find out what's going on with the new contract to see if that looks like it's going to happen. And then, I mean, I already talked to the EDD folks, and they're like, yeah, you're on a temporary layoff. So, like, if you don't find work before they hire you, that's perfectly fine. And I was like, really? They're like, yeah, on a temporary layoff, we don't, like, they're not even mandating that I fill out applications and stuff like that. So one of the things I will say about California, their unemployment insurance actually does a pretty good job. Have you seen the Rosie that someone turned into a Tonto? Okay, I don't like any of the Rosies. I don't like the Oz Rosie. It's not a knife for me. It really isn't. I know that they're very similar to this. This just feels so much better. So Paul FTW, I prefer the Lamia over the Koenig. You're right about the flipperless though. It has nothing to do with the functionality. I didn't cut anything with that Koenig Arius. It absolutely is spectacular. It is probably one of the best built knives you're ever gonna find. The best execution, everything. It's up there. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's up there. Well, I'm not gonna say it's up there. I'm gonna say it's equal to my Norseman when it comes to execution and just insane detail work. I've not been carrying this for the main reason that I carry it, then I use it, and then I have to sharpen it, and I can't afford to replace this knife, so I want this knife to last my lifetime, and it will. I carry it occasionally. Keep the beard. My profile picture is from 15 years ago. Now I have a 12-inch beard, and I can not have one. I don't think I could not have a beard either. I will say, because I've been back home and I've been in cold environments, I have not had chapped lips once since I grew my mustache. Well, Ethan, you do ruin EDC, so yeah. One, I don't like Tontos. I'm not a big fan of the Americanized Tonto. This. I have two knives. I have two knives that have just completely changed my perspective on Spyderco knives. Well, three, technically. This is the PM2, and this is the Military 2. And I had this one apart, and I got the pivot a little tighter than I want. I think it's eventually gonna break in a little bit, but there's no blade play on this at all, which is out of character for Spydercos. Guys, so we're 44 minutes in. I'm not gonna try and, like, this isn't me begging. I just would like you guys to know that there is an option to drop a super chat on this. You can see that Aiden dropped 20 bucks. I'm currently laid off, and I'm doing all my YouTube stuff. It's like basically the only income I have. I would really appreciate it if you'd support the channel, but you can also go down to the affiliate links. So I had this one. I mean, if you don't want to do any of those, just drop a like. Just drop a like and subscribe. I had this come in, and I've always wanted one. I never bought one. Richard, I will come back to that in a second. And so I never bought one of these. Winston Cobretti, who's one of the paying members on the channel, bought one of these. for me. And I was like, pardon me. I was like, you know what? This has always been my favorite Spyderco model. And I never pulled the trigger on one. And so I went ahead and did it. He went ahead and did it for me. And I'm so glad he did. Absolutely love this knife. It's one of their older models. So is the military too. Absolutely love that. If you can find one of those, absolutely pick it up. So this is the compression made easy. So Richard Swartz, what's the compression lock thing? So what this is, it's just a little add-on, and it's 3D printed to marry up into the spot for the compression lock. It has an overlap, and you just simply super glue it on the compression lock. Now, I've not had any real issues. I dropped this one and it came loose. It did break loose. I cleaned it up a little bit of acetone, 2 more drops of super glue, put it right back on. It does require a little bit of finesse putting it on because you want to make sure it doesn't rub on the scales. So you just take a piece of notebook paper and slide in between there just to give yourself that gap when it's opening and closing. But what it does is it fills that area. And so you lose the weirdness of that little drop in, and you don't have to stick your finger in as far to engage the lock. You can just simply push it right there. I've not had it disengage in hand. I've not had it, like when I'm bearing down on it, at all disengage the lock. Not had any issues with that. It just kind of makes the deployment of a compression lock a little bit better. To tell you the truth, it's like a left-handed button lock. That's what I was going to say, Richard. It's like having, so I didn't realize how much I like a button lock with it being opposite until I got to handle a left-handed button lock. And I was like, well, that's just perfect. Why is the button on this side where I got to change, like, I don't have to even change my grip on that knife to open and close it. When I have it in this grip, I do have to change my grip to push the button. Not much, but I definitely have to reorient. I don't have to do that. This basically turns the compression lock. It definitely turns the compression lock into more akin to a left-handed button lock. And if you're left-handed, it makes the compression lock so much easier because you don't, like if you're left-handed and you're reaching in, and this is why, I think this is why Justin said he did it. It allows you to not have to reach in as far and pinch and then possibly drop your knife. Thick booties. Well, when I met my wife, she was the only Japanese girl I'd ever met that had a fairly decent behind, and so that should tell you something. She's got a little bit of a badonkadonk. Can AR RPM9 take a low angle? I'm sure it can. Here's the thing. Most of the knives that CJRB, do I have one out here? I don't think I do. I don't have any of my CJRB stuff out here. No, I don't. Most of the time though, with the CJRB and artisan stuff, they use a fairly thin blade stock and they do a fairly decent thin grind that comes down really thin behind the edge. I find that to not necessarily need a shallower angle, but the edge stability, I haven't had any real problems. Now I have heard people complain, oh, this and that, and it was, people just like to complain about stuff. So I don't necessarily think that you need a shallow or a low angle on that, but I don't see why it wouldn't. I could see it being a little chippy. It is one of those, like, I think it's one of those steels that, like a lot of steels, is gonna have a chance of chipping, just because it's very similar to 9CR. And the thing is, those are not. They have a lot more chromium in them, which makes them a lot more. There's a lot more brittleness involved in that. I don't know. I'll tell you, the whole thing though is, if you get your edge geometry right, like on this Lamia, you don't need a low angle. As a matter of fact, I did a video with this knife where I cut cardboard after I had knocked the edge completely off of this. Like, I took it on a ceramic rod and just, it didn't have any edge, and it still screamed through cardboard. So, like, the edge is just the icing on the cake when it really comes. Guys, I'm gonna slide further back. I'm leaning forward and it's uncomfortable. It's making my back hurt. Let me grab you guys. We're gonna relocate to the axe. I do that every time, and I'm like, you know, you could easily sit on the couch like a normal human being and bring them to you. Let's see. There we go. The only problem is I have to move you every time I want to open that knife case. What? That was not an invite for you to come over here to play. So, yeah, come on up. Come on. He thinks it's time to play. Oh, another thing that I wanted to point out to you guys. This is that camera that I got, that I used to film that video that we just had recently, which was the... Yes, sir. How may I assist you? So it's not going to be doing... I'm still filming a lot on my phone. Chunk. But this is going to do a lot of stuff on this channel that I can't do with my phone, buddy. There's a lot of stuff I just can't do with my phone. There's environments I don't want to try and film on my phone in. The side of that mountain was one. And the other thing too is the stabilization on this is great. Like, this thing is absolutely incredible. It's got a fully adjustable screen, so you can film facing yourself. It tells you what, you know, all your settings that you're using on the front screen. The problem is it's a fixed focal length. So if you know anything about like GoPros and stuff like that, like, it doesn't have an autofocus. Like, it has a set focal length where everything past that point is in focus. I have some things to try and mitigate that. There's an adapter that I bought. Mad Yoko, what's up, bud? I caught a little bit of your last live stream you did. So at any rate, this allows me to put this on here, and then I can adjust my focal length with diopters. So this just simply is a 3D printed thing, and I put it on whether I'm using the diopters or not when I take it out of the case, because that lens, you can't replace that. So it gives me a little bit of protection, and plus you get some lens flare when you're outside and you're using this without that on it. So you get some lens flare. And this, you can go check out his website, Make Art Now. It's an Etsy shop. But when you put this on, it simply pops over. So you get a little bit of protection from lens flare, but then if you're moving around and you don't have that really nice full case, you can just put this lens cover on. And then you can add your diopter lenses. Now the package that I had, that I purchased, came with a bunch of stuff that now you're not going to get in a package. I got it from another YouTube creator. He had an affiliate link with them that's, I think it was 33% off. But at any rate, so you put that on, and then you can take these little diopter lenses. And I think we talked about this before. These little magnifying lenses. And then you can just drop them in, and then you don't have to worry about focal length. The only problem is that's if you're filming like static at a known distance. It's kind of problematic if you're wanting to film like a top-down video with this, because then I have to keep changing out lenses, which means there's a lot more cuts. Plus, I have to call the company. I think there's something wrong with the camera itself. I cannot get my microphone to connect to this properly like it's supposed to. Hey. Yeah, we all know you're here. I know. Such a good boy. Squeak, 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 squeak. But yeah, so there's a lot of options with that. I've started putting an affiliate link to this camera down below because it's absolutely an awesome, awesome thing. I got a nice Akaso Brave 8. It does everything the expensive for half. That's the thing. So I have 3 batteries for this. And I was talking to my buddy. I was like, I only get about 100 minutes. I only get about 100 minutes of film time with this. And he's like, what? I was like, yeah, I only get about 100 minutes. And I don't really know like the battery life. And I was like, I really don't know what you get on a GoPro. He's like, bro, I get like 30 minutes out of a fully charged battery. So I get like about 100 minutes, and I got 3 extra batteries, or 2 extra batteries with the kit that I got. So basically I've got up to 300 minutes of filming. The other thing too is we were messing with it, and he's like, bro, how long can you film before it overheats? And I was like, I haven't had it overheat. I was filming a time lapse of a sunset, and I left it go for 45 minutes, maybe an hour. He's like, bro, my GoPro would have overheated. He's like, I can't film for more than 15 minutes before it overheats. Never had any overheating. The underwater, no issues. The microphones seemed to like clear themselves like instantly when I came out of the water. I didn't have any issues with water like spotting on the lens. I just personally think that for what you're gonna pay, this is way better than a GoPro. And this is their Gen 1. So their Gen 2, Gen 3, Gen 4, and all the software updates they're gonna do, it's great. But like I said, I don't think I've ever had a camera that had the stabilization that this does. So if you guys are interested in an alternative for GoPro, there's a link down below for that so you can check it out. What did I miss here? I have a CJRB Sealax Hyperlight and an Artisan Cutlery Sea Snake. So the Sea Snake is my design, in case you guys didn't know. And they are all really nice and thin behind the edge. And all 3 of those knives that he mentioned, those are all relatively thin knives to begin with. The Sealax, actually, my buddy Nico just keeps his in his kitchen. Like it lives in his kitchen. It's basically a kitchen knife at this point. There was absolutely something. Joe X is branching out into camera testing. We'd like to see a cold steel camera model for that testing. I'm gonna tell you, like, for a camera that just basically started on the market, I'm pretty impressed with it. So, guys, I'm gonna have to play with him or he's gonna lose his mind. It's been an hour. I was only gonna do this for like 30 minutes or so. I had to do something. I'm losing my mind about losing the job, even if it's temporary. If they get this new contract, I'll be going back. But you know, I went so. How do I say this? I tried so hard to find a job, and then once I found a job, I got laid off for something stupid. And I don't agree with it. I think it's a bunch of bullshit, but it's not the company's fault. It's the job site's fault. Basically, my hobby got me fired. Well, not fired, laid off. The company didn't fire me, but the job site says I can't be there. So you see how that works? It's absolutely, it's soul crushing, like, because it's hard these days. So guys, I'm gonna get off of here. You guys stay sharp. I'm gonna play with this dog. I think we're gonna go to the beach. Because you know what? I can. Like, it's not like, I think it was Friday. It's Friday. You ain't got no job, but I know it's Monday. But I'm Craig from, and then like the people are like, well, just go find a job, you lazy. I was like, I don't think you understand what a temporary layoff is. Like, if you guys still want to stick around, let me know. Do you guys want to stick around? He's laying down. I think he's worn himself out. But I think I just got a package. Let's go check my front door. Let's see. Let's go see. Let's go see. We don't have to go. Paul, if you want to stick around, we can stick around for a little bit, I guess. I don't have anything else going on. I just really didn't have anything to talk about. So if you guys want to talk about something, let's put that in the comments section. Oh, yes. I know what this is. Scab sent back my knives. That's what we can talk about. Let's tear into this. I got my knives back. I'm not gonna lie. I was a little worried when I saw him doing my Cold Steel R1, when he said that he thought that was one that I had when I was in the military. I was like, no, Scab, I told you that one was a gift. And I was kind of concerned. Back up, bud. Back up, back. You're in the way, you're gonna get cut. I have a knife in my hand. I was kind of concerned knowing Scab's testing and knowing that I can't ever get that knife again. And it was a gift. But I mean, he didn't do anything horrible. Nothing that I hadn't already pretty much done except tires. So I sent him, why do I dislike S? What is this? I don't know what this is. I'm hoping that old Scabby didn't get confused. Oh no, okay. Okay. Why do I dislike S90V or S30V? It's chippy. It's chippy. I don't like the way it cuts. I don't like anything about it. I never have. I always found it to be all of the negatives of a super steel and none of the benefits. It's hard to sharpen. It's finicky on what you can sharpen it with. It's finicky on what edge it wants to take, but then you don't get any of the benefits from most of the super steels. Let's take a look at what Scabby sent me back. So this, I know what this is. Chunk, stop it. Get out of that stuff. This is, back up. This is that Shade Indonesia. What do you want to call it? Mac V buoy. Chunk, go. Quit chewing on, you can't, no. He's got a thing for leather. He ruined a $40 leather belt. So that's what he sent me back. I got this back. So this is my prototype of the sea snake, or I'm sorry, stonefish. So I finally have my stonefish prototype back. So got that. Yeah, I've never found S30V to be a steel that I thought was a good idea. So this was done Shade Indonesia. This one is Scabs, and I will be sharpening this for him. This is heavy. This is heavy. Wow, somebody, he's not lying. Whoever did this really screwed this edge up. This is heavy. This is a big, heavy knife. But the thing I was most excited about coming back, what's the steel on this? I don't know. I don't know. It's not marked on it. This is a Shade Indonesia custom. I do have to say I'm not a fan of that. That's a cool looking knife. This is what I was looking forward to coming back. Oh, there's my baby. Edge held up pretty well on it. This is what I was so looking forward to coming back. It's my R1 Military Classic. This, I've said it, and people get upset when I've said it. This is better, in my own personal experience and my own personal use. This is better than the Model 1 Randall. And I had a Model 1 Randall. So that's not coming from just someone who's just saying something and with no experience. I had a Model 1 Randall when I was in the military. And it was the tool steel version with the stacked leather handles, and it had an aluminum butt cap. And the problem with it was, and I'm not the only person that had this problem, there's a guy, I can't think of his YouTube channel, he had the same thing. He was in a wet environment. I was in Deepwater Port in Ashweba in Kuwait, really humid, really wet, and I sweat, and I carried it. And what happened was the tool steel, where it was touching the aluminum, I got galvanic corrosion. So if you don't know, that's two dissimilar metals. It's called bimetallic corrosion or galvanic corrosion. And it's an electrical thing. So they're sharing ions back and forth. And so what happened was the entire handle just started falling apart, and I kept getting rust and stuff everywhere, and it was horrible. And I didn't know enough about Randall knives at the time. I knew that they were like a famous brand, but I didn't know enough about them at the time to know better and to fucking reach out to them or anything. And I did find out that they don't redo handles. But what happened was it was just falling apart. There was nothing I could do. Once that starts, it's just almost impossible to stop. And I was like, when I found it, I was like, why would they just put an aluminum butt cap on a carbon steel, tool steel handle like that? And I was like, that seems pretty ridiculous, to tell you the truth. I don't know what Scab cut a sandwich with this. I can tell. It's got garlic. He cut a sandwich with this. If you watch Scab's channel, you know that's his thing. So I got rid of the guy. I had a guy ask me, he's like, well, I have almost the same knife. I have the cold steel version. He goes, I will absolutely take that. He saw me coming. He's like, I'll take that Randall. I'll trade you. And since I liked the shape and everything about the knife, it worked out. And so I got one of these. Well, then it got, and I'm trying to remember, it's not designed for replacement. They will not replace the handles. They specifically told the other gentleman that had the same problem that they do not do handles. It's not meant for replacement. It's just not real well thought out in that design. So at any rate, I traded for one of these, the exact same knife. And I carried it for a long time, and then it disappeared. I still, like, I'm on the fence as to whether I sold it to someone or if it just got stolen. But at any rate, this one is better because it's got a hidden tang, yes, but it's a fairly long hidden tang. It's no different than the rat tail tang that's on the, not that much different, I should say, than the rat tail tang that's on a Randall. But this one's impregnable. The handle shape's a little bit better. The cant is almost the same. But I think all in all that this just wound up, me personally, being a better knife. This is the Sanmai 3 version. It's the same version I had. Just an incredible knife. Absolutely love this. And then one of the subscribers sent this to me when I talked about having one, and they were like, well, I'm going to send you one since you don't have yours anymore. He's like, I've got one I don't ever carry, and I'll just send it to you as a gift. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love this knife. It gets carried a lot. When me and the dog go on long walks at night, this is typically what I carry. So it just surprised me with Randall that such a well-known, now that I know more about the knife industry in general and all that, it just really, I found it kind of surprising later that they would even do the construction like that, considering that they're so well known for like how the quality is and everything on their stuff. And then to have a much cheaper version of that knife be better. I found it unusual. I found it odd. Let's put it that way. I found it strange that a company would put out a better version at a much lower price point. And the sheath on it is just incredible. So I don't know what this is. He said he was sending me something. Oh, that's right. I've got to sharpen this. First production run. This is Blackjack Tack Ops. I don't know the steel. It's relatively thin behind the edge. I think I'll be able to sharpen that pretty easily. So, any thoughts on the Microtech Stitch? I will tell you that until recently, the Microtech Stitch was my favorite Microtech knife of all time. And that reminds me that my current new favorite Microtech is still sitting out there because I cleaned it up and it had a bunch of water and stuff in it, and I was letting it dry because I didn't want water in my pocket. And I had not charged the blower at the time that I did it. I did that last night. This is my new favorite. The Microtech Stitch is probably one of the best knives that Microtech has ever made. It's a really good version of a custom stitch by Borka Blades, and it's absolutely incredible. Hang on a second, guys. I just realized that lens was filthy. I apologize. I did not like the MSI. That's why you never saw an MSI video. I had a guy send me an MSI. He was like, if you want, he's like, I'm selling it. He's like, if you don't want it, I've got another guy lined up. He's like, but I'm giving you first bids. I was like, well, let me review it. And if I like it, I'll just buy it from you. And he was going to give me a pretty decent price. It was under, because the MSI is not that expensive. But I just didn't like the knife in general. It wasn't anything, it's just, it was not a knife for me per se. And I'm friends with Tony, and I just didn't feel it was fair to do a video about a knife that there really was nothing wrong with it except just my personal preferences. I've done it before, but you know. But this, absolutely my new favorite Microtech. Microtech Amphibian, the Ramlock. This thing is great, and it's, the Amphibian, the custom ones are insane, and I loved them. And I was like, I fell in love with this second I saw it. Do you have the color fluted aluminum version? Those look amazing. If I'm gonna get a Microtech, it's gonna be black, and it's gonna be aluminum. Given the option, even though aluminum is like, I should want a micarta or a G10 version. Knowing me, complaining about slipperiness and things like that. There is something about Microtech's aluminum handles that they do that's just absolutely insane. I love their aluminum. Even though a micarta handle, micarta being my favorite handle material, even though that would probably be the better bet, I'm gonna go with aluminum. I don't think there's a knife company that does aluminum handles as well as Microtech does. I really don't think there is. So, guys, I do have to get off of here. I have a lot of stuff I have to do. The wife and kid get back in a few days. They get back in 7 days. So I have 1 week. I got a bunch of stuff I want to do. I got to get stuff cleaned up. I got to clean out the cars because there's dog hair all over the cars. I've got to get the upholstery, the headliner in my Volkswagen done so my daughter can drive without having like worry about like foam coming out of the headliner while she's driving if she wants to have the windows down. So it's going to be a hectic few days, and it's too hot to film. So I don't know what we're going to do. I think I might take the dog out to the beach. The problem is I take him to the beach and then he's just sandy all day. Like, he's just, no matter how much you clean him, there's just going to be sand everywhere. So maybe I'll just fill his pool up in the yard and let him lay in there. Get some spa time for the puppy because it is hot. All right, guys, I love y'all. Check out all the affiliate links down below. This channel is self-sponsored. All the affiliate links and stuff down below, all the videos, supports the channel. But big one, take my Amazon store link, pin that to your browser, use it for all your Amazon shopping. And then if you're looking for knives, there's links to almost every vendor down below. Well, the big ones anyway. So, all right, guys, I'm out of here. I love y'all. Take it easy. I'll see you in the next video.